never gonna let we can falter in the battle. We're tried and true. Indiana, Indiana, Indiana.
Welcome, everybody, to the Indiana Basketball Weekly Show on the Gruely True Sports Network. I am your co-host, Mike Goodpaster, along with Steve Risley, former Indiana basketball legend. At least that's what he broke down for me to say. But me and Steve over the next couple weeks, and this was Steve's idea. I just had to bring that up because it's 9 years. Steve finally knocked one out of the ballpark. We're going to look daily at a different coaching candidate for the Indiana Hoosiers. Did you flip me off? Were you showing me?
No, I said, hey, every once in a while, a blind squirrel or a blind
Yes,
bird.
you had 1981, and then you had yesterday. All right, guys. But today we're going to look at Dusty May, who right now, the big question, I think, is, Steve, is can you pry Dusty May away from Michigan? He's only been there 1 year. But what's your opinion here? Is there a chance?
Well, I let's get to Dusty first before we talk about is there a chance. Let's I mean he's what, 48 years old, head coach at Florida Atlantic. It took him to the Final Four in 2003. Was it 2002, 2023?
A couple years ago.
Couple years ago. Took a small school, it was a Cinderella story. And then did there what, 6 years there, I think he was.
Yeah, and they made the tournament. I think it's an 8 seed in his second year there.
Yeah,
so it wasn't
the
like
Conference USA, which
year.
is a decent conference. There's nothing to sneeze at. And last year he was in the ACC, which means, and he took his team to the tournament his first year in the ACC. So, I definitely successful as a coach there. And then, of course, last year he ended up transferring over to Michigan for this season. Took a team in Michigan. What was Michigan? They had a losing record last year. Didn't they?
They were like 5-20 something.
Yeah, took them right now. I think they sit 20-5 and atop the Big Ten.
They're 20-5, first in the Big Ten, ranked in the top 20. So to say he's done a good job immediately
would be an understatement.
Would be a huge understatement. And at Florida Atlantic, he took over a program that was nowhere. They were 17-16 the first year, 17-16 the second year. Then the COVID year, 13-10. 19-15, and then, of course, 23-24, 25-9, made a run all the way to the Final Four. They came up short there, and then 24-25.
Overall, in 7 seasons as a head coach, he's got 146 wins already. So,
I'm sorry, Steve. Real quick, I made a mistake, and I wanted to catch it before somebody else does. 23 is when they went to the Final Four. They were 35-4 last year. 25-9. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I mean, as just to point out, he's won 146 games in 7 seasons as a head coach, losing only 74. So he's averaging 20 wins a season in his fledgling career as a college coach. So obviously his acumen as a coach, his ability to connect with his players, get out of his players what he wants. He must have good vision. He graduated from Indiana under Coach Bob Knight in the year 2000. So most all of his basketball acumen probably comes from Coach Knight. And when we get into talking about what his offensive and defensive philosophies are, I think you'll see a lot of Coach Knight written over it with a modernization. Probably what we would want Coach Knight to look like if he was coaching today.
Yeah, you want to explain that a little, Steve? Because of course, IU under Coach Knight was
why don't you take the offense? I'll take the defense, or either vice versa. I'll take the offense and you take the defense, whichever.
No, it doesn't matter to me. It was just, and I mean, I think that you had a better explanation because I've watched them play.
Okay, offensively, he's fast-paced. Yeah, what he likes to do, he likes to run what he picked up from the Phoenix Suns under Steve Nash. What he calls the 7 seconds or less offense. He likes to push the ball up court offensively, get his guards. He loves motion. Loves the motion offense, constantly motion, screening, and getting his guards open for good shots, be it either from mid-range or three-point range, which in college basketball is really mid-range. He likes to recruit bigs that are mobile and can utilize their skill sets on the perimeter and outside, because he likes to do pick and rolls with the guards. He gives our centers, his bigs. He gives his bigs the total freedom to take the ball to the hole or take the jumper if they feel they've got to go open enough shot. He incorporates everything into a screening offense, which is what Knight did offensively. You want to add to that, what I'm telling you?
No, because I think that is what we'd want to see, and that would be what Indiana's motion offense, I think, would have developed or evolved into.
The thing is, Mike, I really think that if Dusty were to come, we'll get where Dusty can come to Indiana or not, if he wants to come to Indiana. But I think that would involve pretty much a retooling of the IU roster.
Well, you're going to have that anyways, because you're going to have there's a lot of guys.
Well, are we?
Back
I mean, if he would pick up a Dusty May, would guys be so willing to leave? I don't know. We'll talk about
how
that.
many guys were even eligible to come back, though, Steve?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. Well, somehow I think that Trey Galloway will find a way for a 7th season.
Yeah, he's going to make it a career. He'll be like, what was it, Bluto and Animal House?
If he can keep getting $500,000 a year in nil money, why go anywhere else? He ain't going to make that in the real world.
Yeah, it'll be like Bluto at Animal House. The 8 best years of my life were college, and now I got to graduate.
7 years of college down the drain.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, the big thing is whether you can get him or not. And I think when you look at the numbers, if he wants to come here, they can.
Are we done with him yet? Defensively?
Well, go ahead, defensively.
Well, you talk about him defensively. I talked about him offensively.
They play defense better than we do, so I'll take it.
You what?
They play defense better than I do. So you know what I like about
Mike,
them?
They play defense.
I know. But you know what I like most about
whether it's better than us, they just play it.
I know when I wrote my Big Ten power rankings earlier this week, that the big thing was there was some Michigan State idiot who put, I don't know how you can have them at number 1 because their last 5 games, they've only won by 13 points. The thing I take away from that is this: the Indiana Hoosiers have struggled to win close games for a long time. And I know as well as you do, or you know as well as I do, that you need coaching to win games at the end. You need somebody who can draw up a play with 10 seconds left when you got the ball at midcourt. And we have not seen that for a long time here. And the other thing with Dusty May is he's got the connection with Bob Knight. He's also got the Mike Davis connection because he was an assistant at UAB with Mike Davis for a couple of years also.
Yeah. Defensively, he really likes to slow it down. He likes to frustrate the other team's offensive schemes by really trying to slow him down defensively. I don't know if that entails a lot of pressing to take him out or not. But he likes high pressure. He likes to really pressure him and starting to take him out of their offense, slow him down, make him use up the whole 23, 24 seconds, 30 seconds on the shot clock, whatever it is in the college ranks now. I don't even know. 30 seconds. Okay. So, and he's shown that he has the ability to get his teams to think quickly offensively and more demure defensively, more methodical defensively. And I think it's a real credit to the type of kids he recruits. He seems to get fairly smart. He seems to get what I think a lot of the Indiana teams made up in the 80s were all about: the smart kids that listened to their coach, did what their coach said, executed the coach's plan, and it went out and it paid dividends for him. I think he did that at Florida Atlantic, and I think he turned that around real quick at Michigan. But I know he was specific in recruiting the type of players he wanted. It wasn't always the blue chip players that were McDonald's All-Americans and 5-star players. It was just
the big question is: do Golden and Wolf both have another year of eligibility? Because it'd be nice to get Tim here. Especially the Wolf kid. I imagine the Wolf kid is going to the NBA after this year. But
so anything else about May's coaching style? I mean, I think he's a true blue Indiana coach.
Well, and he's proven for anybody last year, like the little midget in Florida, that thinks that he was just in a mid-major and can't handle a big-time program. I think he has proven at Michigan he does. And now we're going to get to the buyout because you told me to look into the buyout. He makes $3.6 million for a base salary. Now, if he decides to leave Michigan after this season, his buyout would be $5 million plus $1.5 million signing bonus. So his buyout is $6.5 million. Now, that buyout, I don't think would prevent Indiana from going after May, because it's also important to remember with May that he signed a 10-year extension with Florida Atlantic after the 2023 Final Four. and he left a year later. So, I mean, that obviously didn't limit Michigan's ability to hire May. And, Michigan is also right now trying to re-up his contract, which if you negotiate a new contract at Michigan, you can still choose to leave. And the most notable part of May's potential new contract with Michigan would be the renegotiated buyout plans. Because if he signs a new contract, maybe the buyout on the new contract is put at $8, $9, $10 million though. And would that stop Indiana from pursuing him?
Yeah, that's the $10 question. I mean, there are a lot of questions with Dusty. We know his family lives minutes from the campus. I think in Ellisville or somewhere around there, one of the little towns right there. They said within 10 to 15 minutes of the university, his family lives. He went to Bloomington High School in Bloomington, didn't he? I think he
went to Eastern Green High School. Hold on.
Green. Here. Okay, that's Linton County then, or Greene County.
Yeah, Eastern Green High School. He graduated in 1995.
I know that. That's where I had lunch with Neil Armstrong at the Phil Harris Golf Club in Linton, Indiana.
That's awesome. You'll have to tell us about that sometime.
That's where Roy Clark tried to hit on my wife, too.
Roy Clark.
He was a picking and a grinning.
He was 90 years old then.
No, I wasn't. This was back right after we graduated.
Well, my question would be, why in the hell is your wife still with you?
I know. I said, what are you doing? He'd go with him, divorce his ass in a few years, and bring back half of his $50 million.
Yeah, that's probably how that would work, Steve.
I don't think so. Prenup. Anyway, it's another story. But no, so yeah, but he's from, I guess he went to high school in Linton, so Greene County. Nice little area. Nice little golf course there. But I did get to have lunch with Neil Armstrong at the Phil Harris Golf Classic.
Really? You've never told us that before.
Yeah, we were both celebrities.
Really?
He was a little bit bigger celebrity than I was.
Probably.
Yeah, he walked on the moon.
Yeah, I mean, but you wiped Isaiah's ass, so.
Got that going for me. So he's from the area. He was a manager at IU for, I think, 4 years. Learned probably a lot of his basketball acumen under Bob Knight. And so I think he has some real ties to the university. I really think it's a shame we did not make a play for him last year, but they were still willing to give Mike another chance.
Which was absolutely stupid.
Well, hindsight's always 20/20.
No, it's not, because last year I was screaming about this.
It's stupid in the sense that it didn't work out for Mike.
But it wasn't. It was never going to work out.
Shot at getting Dusty May. Other than that, I still think we owed it to Mike to give him the 4th year.
Why?
Because I'm a friend of Mike's and loyal to Mike, and I like Mike Woodson, and that's a dumbass reason to do it.
It's a fucking
bitch at me all you want to. I like Mike Woodson as a person.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see him succeed at IU.
Has nothing to do with being the coach.
I know. I'm aware of that, but still I can't get that out of my heart because I've known Mike since we were in 3rd or 4th grade. And I've, played basketball against him or with him. You've heard all these stories before, so I'm not going to react. Anyway, they didn't. And now he's entrenched at Michigan. I don't know that Indiana has the money to buy him out. I
guarantee you they do.
Michigan is well aware of the fact that Indiana, that May would be their number one target.
Yeah, but see, this is the problem. It's not just Indiana that wants Dusty May right now.
No, but Indiana is probably the only people that have a chance of getting him.
I don't know about that because there's a lot of rumors about multiple places.
I wouldn't leave Michigan. Michigan is a great university, all the money in the world, one of the most renowned athletic universities in the country. I mean, they're up there with Alabama, Michigan, UCLA. Those universities spend money, have incredible facilities, reward their winners, and it would be very difficult to think that what I think Michigan's going to offer him, he would leave Michigan. I don't know. I know Indiana can match it. I don't know that, but I would assume Indiana can match it. But I don't know if they're willing to or not. We're still paying football coaches from the Corso era.
No, we're not.
Okay, I'm being a little facetious there, but from a long time ago.
Well, if it was Lee Corso, it was a long time ago. I can tell you this.
Lee Corso was the first college coach to ever recruit me.
Well, that'll tell all you need to know about Lee Corso. Did he know that you were mainly a basketball player?
No, he didn't give a damn. He wanted me to play football.
Yeah, because he's Lee Corso.
And he
All
actually
right.
walked into Knight's office when I told him I wanted to play basketball. He went in the Knight's office and asked if he would allow me to play both. Knight told him to go to hell because he had just gone through that with Buckner. And he wasn't going to do it again. So the law was written down.
All right. How about this, Steve? The places I've heard that were interested, the Miami Hurricanes, who have a lot of money, the Virginia Cavaliers.
From down there. Florida Atlantic's right down there.
Yep. The Virginia Cavaliers.
No, that program's done and gone.
Okay.
I just watched a 5-part special on Thomas Jefferson, and it ain't going to happen.
Okay. Florida
Jefferson's
State.
The founder of
We're talking about people that have money, though. Virginia, Florida State. So
Thomas
there you
Jefferson
go.
died broke.
You also got the possibility of Villanova being open because Kyle Neptune, even though they've been better this
let's
year,
coach in front of 5,000 fans every night.
It worked for Jay Wright.
Well, and Jay Wright didn't go any higher than that either.
What? Do you know how many national championships Jay Wright won?
3?
Okay, so you don't. Okay.
2 or 3.
You get the Texas Longhorns job who could come open. So you're ripping on Jay Wright. You're ripping on Jay Wright.
Villanova. None of those are better basketball schools.
Oh, no, they're not. There's no way they are. How long has it been since Villanova has won?
No, I said with the exception of Villanova.
Okay.
None of those are better basketball
When's the last
schools.
time Indiana was in the Final Four?
Yeah, I know. It was, 2002.
It was 2002. Was the last time that, I don't know, Miami was in a Final Four?
2 years ago when they beat Indiana, didn't they?
All right. So,
getting to the Final Four is not winning a championship.
Okay. When's the last time Indiana won a national championship?
1987.
When's the last time Villanova did? Villanova's won
2008, 95, 96, 97, sometime in there.
Villanova won it in 2016 and 2018.
Okay, that's
Jay Wright. Yeah. They've been to the Final Four 4 times in the last 15 years.
Jay Wright is one of those mega coaches. Yeah, and he took Villanova, which shows what great coaches can do to mediocre programs. That's why Dusty May would be such a hot property to get.
I hate to tell you this, Steve, but Villanova won a national championship long before Jay Wright, too.
I know. My first NCAA loss.
You got beat by him 63-62, wasn't it?
Rory Sparrow. They beat us up in Rhode Island.
Yeah, so Villanova is a legit program, and so is Miami, because Miami is a legit program because they've got a lot of money.
And a lot of cocaine.
How do you know that, Steve?
I did a recruiting trip to Miami.
No, you didn't.
I wanted to see the South Beach.
You didn't go to Miami on a recruiting trip. They didn't have enough money to fly a player from Indiana to Miami or Florida back then. I don't even think Miami had a program back then.
I wanted to go see the Cavender twins.
No, really. Miami didn't have a basketball program when you played, Steve.
I know. I'm being facetious. I'm trying to have fun, all right?
I am not here to have fun, Steve. I'm here to get to the bottom and the truth of everything.
Well, the bottom of the truth is that Dusty May would definitely be Indiana's number. If it's not, I question the validity of the intelligence of the people in Indiana.
Well, look at who they've hired as of recent, and that would make
I'm well aware of that. They've gone. I think they've been boondoggled and swindled into things that they've been told by fan base or alumni base what to do, and I don't think they've made the right basketball decisions. Now it's time to make the right basketball decision. The right basketball decision would be to spend every freaking penny you can on Dusty May if you can get him to come. We don't even know if Dusty has any interest at this point in leaving.
The only way you know is to ask and to offer.
They can't do that until the season's over. So if we want to put our eggs in his basket, he's probably a team that's going to get at least to the Sweet 16. Given his coaching style, his knowledge of how to coach in the tournaments.
Well, and the impressive thing about Dusty May, Steve, was this. Our worry last year with him is he took Florida Atlantic to the tournament. He got the job about the time the tournament ended. So he was starting a couple weeks where people have already been recruited and everything. And he still was able to rehaul an entire roster and make them a top 20 team. No, I mean, I'm just saying that's why he's worth waiting for.
There is no red flag on Dusty May that I'm aware of. I mean, I don't think there's any personal issues. I think he's a clean-cut gentleman, a fine representative of Michigan right now. He was a fine representative of Florida Atlantic. And I think he'd be a fine representative. And I think he would welcome former players coming down and let us sit somewhere other than next to the band.
Your wife won't let you go back to Indiana, though.
Crap.
Or was that the police?
Throw that in.
Was that the police or your wife? I don't remember.
It's the police.
Steve's got a warrant out for his arrest.
Welcome in Indiana. Anyway,
Yeah, went to the DQ, stole some smoothies.
Now tell everybody you're joking about that.
I am. That's why I just said, because you're in trouble for Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
How do I know I'm joking? I don't know what the hell you did in Indiana. It does seem weird you left and never.
I actually have a Dairy Queen story where I got in trouble with the police in high school.
Tell it.
No.
Why not?
No.
Would it?
Because it entailed massive stupidity.
Because you're basically still trying to get that IU coaching job, and if you tell that story, that's going to be another nail in the coffin.
I am dead to the world.
All right, so how about this? If Bruce Pearl was the same age as Dusty May, who would you want?
Dusty May. It's no question.
Me too. I think he's a better coach.
I think he's a better coach. I think he's probably the hottest young, what I would say young, 48. He's not really young, but he is young. I think he's the hottest property in college basketball right now, but I think he's at a great basketball program that he doesn't really have a lot of reason to leave.
I think this. You already said where he came from, or I said where he came from.
I think that
you said the connections, how close the family is to Bloomington. I think that is our only hope here, but I think it's a big hope.
I think he's married to his high school sweetheart, I believe. I read that somewhere. That and so her family's from there too, I believe. Do not hold me on that, but I think that's what.
Well, and the other thing is this, Steve. When they were questioning him after he beat us a couple weeks ago, he never said that he was staying at Michigan and he wouldn't think about it. He talked about how great the job would be, but he was happy at Michigan. But he never came out and said, guys, because this is me. Yeah. If I'm happy at Michigan, I'm staying no matter what. I'm saying, guys, I'm the coach at Michigan and I'm staying at Michigan. He did not say that.
No, he did not. He did not. And I think it's a smart move on his part to keep his options open. Because if nothing else, he's going to force Michigan to pay him a lot more money.
Well,
nothing else. So why would he come out and say,
I think
I'm happy to stay at Michigan? He's not going to do that.
I think Michigan's going to pay more money, more than just because of Indiana, because you do have a Miami and Florida State program with a ton of money also.
Well, yeah, but
and Virginia.
Don't think that
everybody's going to want him, Steve. Put it like that.
Right. He's the most wanted coach in college basketball probably right now.
Yeah. So the other question I would ask with all the other guys we're talking about, is there anybody else we're going to talk about that is a guy that just everybody would want no matter what?
Right.
So that is why, to me, this is probably my number one. I still have a couple other guys we'll talk about later. Probably.
Yeah. Who would
see this? This is why I'm doing it, because we
basketball would be a better fit for Indiana.
Now.
I got to hear your answer.
Okay, I would give you this. If it wasn't for the stuff with his girlfriend, it would be Chris Beard.
Better than Dusty May.
I think Chris Beard's a hell of a guy. I think Chris Beard and Dusty May would be on the same plane, but Chris Beard's personal issues make me favor Dusty May.
Has Chris Beard been to the Final Four?
Yes, he's been in a national championship game. He lost in double overtime to Virginia.
Okay, was that when my boy from Lawrence Central was on the team?
Hawkeye.
He broke all my scoring records.
He broke every scoring record you had was destroyed by Hawkeye.
First of all, he went to that high school for 4 years and still
did he go to high school for 4 years?
Central London, they said, "Oh, he's got the modern record." I'm
Steve,
like, the modern record. I graduated from Lawrence Central in 1976.
Wait, Steve, didn't you graduated in 1977, Steve? But you didn't know when you graduated. But I only know that because of the great game you played against Aurora when the midgets beat you. But when we look at this, I mean, Dusty May is my number one choice. There are a lot of other guys. I think Ben McCollum, who we're going to talk about later, we'll talk about him probably on Tuesday. Tomorrow.
Well, I think after today we're going to get back to realism. We're going to get back to who's going to be willing to come to Indiana.
Chances are Dusty's
going to leave. I don't think he's going to leave Michigan.
But I think there's a chance he could.
Yeah.
I would say it's 50-50.
Like Jim Carrey said in Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying we got a chance?
No, that would be if I said there was a 1% chance. I really think this percentage just is according to Dusty May and how bad he wants to be the Indiana Hoosier
But we
basketball
don't. Well,
coach.
what we don't know right now, we know what everybody else thinks, but we don't know what Dusty's thinking.
And how about this? I also think there's a case to be made that everybody has failed because of the administration, because it has been 25 years and multiple failed coaches.
Yeah, no,
And if he knows
the
what's
question
going
I
on
would have
there,
if I was Dusty May, do I want to step into an administration
that is what I'm saying.
of
So
what Indiana has to offer?
I'm saying this. If he
they tend to
doesn't
make
come,
bad decisions.
because I will guarantee you this, Dusty May will know what goes on with that administration. And if he does and there's been issues, he's not going to risk that and come here probably unless he's offered a lot of control that other guys haven't had. Now, I mean, to me, Tom Crean, Archie Miller, I think with the proper support might have worked here. I don't think Mike Woodson was ever going to work no matter what. He wasn't a college basketball coach, and that's not the hate on him.
To coach in college basketball.
Yeah, he never coached basketball.
It's unfortunate.
He'd never been a basketball coach. He was in the NBA.
Yeah, babysitting 101. I understand.
Yeah, I mean, the NBA, put it like this, Larry Brown was a great coach, and every time he went to the NBA, he shortly returned to college.
The Hornets-Lakers game last night. Oh, my God, I can't stand the NBA.
Who won the game?
The Hornets beat the Lakers.
Really?
The Hornets have only won 12 games all season.
Was LeBron still feeling?
LeBron cries his way to the bank every.
Did he play in the game?
Oh yeah, he scored 20 points somewhere.
Did Luka play?
Huh?
Did Luka play?
Yeah, Luka got 14 points and 11 rebounds. Limited time, so I think they're still not being a little ginger with his calf. But in all fairness, I only watched about a quarter of it because there was nothing else on.
In all fairness, that's more than anybody else watches.
It's more than I should have watched because it made me just realize I don't like NBA basketball.
All right, so Steve has an appointment to get his hair cut today, so we're going to wrap the show up a little bit earlier. That and Dusty May's an easy one. Tomorrow we'll get into a little bit more difficult one. That'll be Chris Beard.
So I think wrapping up Dusty, he fits the bill. He's the prototype of what we would want to carry our program, and he probably would bring this program back real fast.
Yeah, there's no drawbacks with Dusty that you can see.
There's no drama with him. I think with the use of the portal and his coaching success at Florida Atlantic and at Michigan, I think he's going to be able to get who he needs to fit his style. I think Indiana fans would incredibly welcome his style of play. You know, the motion offense with the modern variation of the seven second or less mentality, utilizing the bigs outside and giving them freedom to take the ball to the hole, to run pick and rolls. He loves to run pick and rolls defensively. He likes to be methodical, slow things down. I mean, he's what the prototype Indiana teams were all about. You know, that's how we were built in 81. With Isaiah, we were a 7 second or less offense. Ray and Landon. I mean, you know, we could put the ball up quickly and get it down court. And
I watched the 1981 game at Ohio State last night, and you were impressive.
Was I?
Yes. You scored like the first 4 or 6 points of the game. You had a couple steals scored off of it.
Yeah, that's coming off a game where Kellogg had just scored 42 points in the game.
Yes, he did. He scored 42. And then I think he threw a bad pass and he didn't come back in.
Knight put me on him and said, shut him down.
I don't know if you shut him down or not because I fell asleep at 10-8. But
I don't know. We won the game. It was a nationally televised game.
Yes, it was on NBC.
Mm-hmm.
So
McGuire, Dick Enberg.
Yeah, because I had to sleep on the couch. Had to sleep on the couch last night because my wife was really sick, and I don't want to get.
Tell them why you really slept on the couch, Mike.
That's why, because I don't want to get sick.
You got caught with Sylvia down at the diner again, didn't you?
Do they even have diners at places anymore? And is anybody named Sylvia anymore?
Batesville in the town center used to have this great little diner where I got meatloaf and lumpy mashed potatoes for lunch. Only place I ever ate a stupid lunch.
Do you want lumpy mashed potatoes?
I love lumpy mashed potatoes. You can. Who doesn't? What American man does not like lumpy mashed potatoes?
I don't like lumpy mashed potatoes.
Well, you're not an American man.
And you are.
I am, yeah.
You're going to get your hair cut like a little girl.
I have hair to cut, Mike. Take your hat off.
So do I. So do I. And when I cut my hair, I shave it.
Mr. Clean.
Perfectly shaven.
Okay.
Look at that. Perfectly round head, too, Risley.
I think we both would agree Dusty May is our number one choice, but I think he's probably somewhere in the top 5 in terms of a gettable.
Yeah, and we
We
will
just
go to
don't know.
another one. And we're going to go to probably the most controversial one tomorrow, unless we decide to do Rick Pitino.
Beard, Chris
And that would be Chris Beard.
Hey,
So
I would welcome. I would think Patino would be fun.
that'd be horrible. I'd cheer against us.
There's no cheating in college basketball anymore.
It's not about cheating. I mean, he at Louisville, basically while he was married, got his secretary pregnant, paid for her abortion, and then covered it up. That's pretty bad. That's like strike one, strike two,
Where I
strike
live,
three.
that's standard operating procedure out here.
Well, that's why you need to move, Steve. All right, guys. Tomorrow, Steve, 12 or 1?
What's the temperature there today, Mike?
It is, where is that? It's a beautiful 26.
Ooh, it's going to be 82 here today.
Yeah, but you're still in LA, so I win still.
I'm in the valley.
Hey, Robert Stewart just said that you're too old.
I am too old.
Okay.
No doubt.
But, all right, Steve, tomorrow at noon or 1?
Noon or 1. Let's go back to 1.
All right, 1 o'clock tomorrow Eastern time. We will talk about Chris Beard.
I'll need time to style my hair tomorrow.
You didn't?
No, I will tomorrow because I'm going to have it cut nice.
You get that mousse stuff?
I hate that mousse stuff. It sticks to my pillow.
That's not the mousse stuff. All right, guys, you can go follow Steve Risley at srisley34. You can follow me at Grilling Truth. Like, subscribe, hit the bell notification.
Write your letters to Scott Dawson that you want Dusty Maine to pay any amount of money Dusty wants to come to.
Or write your letters telling Scott Dawson that Steve Risley needs a job.
No, Steve Risley doesn't need a job.
You don't? I thought you wanted to be the head coach.
No, I don't want to be. I looked at Woodson. There's no way I want that job. They took a perfectly fine representative of the university and started booing him.
Yeah, you'd be absolutely horrible.
All I hope about Mike Woodson is that they forget about this and go back to loving Mike Woodson as the great IU representative that he is, and he always will be. And the fact that he stepped up to the plate and tried to resurrect our program, and it didn't work out. But I still think this basketball community owes Mike every bit of gratitude and thanks they can give him, and they better cheer his ass off at the end of the season.
I'd boo him myself, but all right, he failed. He failed for.
That's coming from a man who dropped out of Indiana State.
Yeah, I dropped out because I realized it was a stupid school.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, guys. For Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.